What's up, everybody? Welcome to WrestleGeek Weekly. This is episode 6 of the pro wrestling show on Geektacular.TV. We basically just cover sort of the top things that happened this week in pro wrestling, usually across WWE, TNA, and occasionally ROH and some other ones. So with me, as always, the live events blogger over at WrestlingNewsWorld.com, Mr. Sean Hopkins.
Hola, Bruce. How are you doing?
Good. How are you doing this week?
Oh, doing all right. I'm ready to talk some wrestling.
Nice. Me too. What a coincidence.
Also, definitely want to mention this week for all of our viewers, go over to Wrestling News World and check out our video series that we started doing over there, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Yeah.
You want to fill people in on what that might be, Bruce?
Yeah, sure. It's a new thing that we're doing over there. It's exclusive to their site, to their YouTube channel, so go over and check them out. And basically, we each throw out one of the best things that happened this week, one of the worst things that happened during the last week, and then the one thing that we thought was just completely like off the wall or stupid or ridiculous. So it's a good kind of quick rundown. We don't go into too much discussion about it. But it's usually pretty funny, so I would recommend that people check that out if they don't get enough WrestleGeek Weekly right now.
Yeah, it's the bite-sized version to tide you over for the longer version.
Yeah, we sometimes throw in stuff that we don't actually talk about on this show, so it's definitely worth watching, I'd say. So if you got a free couple, it's usually about 10 minutes or so, head on over there and check it out, for sure.
Definitely.
All right, so you want to jump right into it this week?
Oh, I'm more than ready to. Definitely. Let's get down to business.
All right. So we'll do the top 5 notable things that happened in the last week of pro wrestling here.
Notable for us, at least.
Notable, yes. What we think is notable. So for number 5, I think we're going to go with one of Sean's favorite tag teams in wrestling right now, I think, right?
Oh yeah, they're up there. They're up there.
We're talking about ODB and Eric Young, EY.
Winning some gold this week.
Getting the belts.
And not only that, but apparently getting engaged.
Yes, that was rather shocking.
At the same time.
I'm assuming you approve of this.
I do. You know, I think that with as many belts that TNA has floating around their roster right now, you know, it really doesn't hurt the Knockouts tag belts to be used for comedy. It's kind of nice, actually, just to shake things up a little bit and have a bit of personality on the show. What did you think about it?
No, I thought it was good. It was a really funny match, and I thought if anybody should have those belts, I think it's those two. They've been doing a lot of really funny work the last, I guess it's been a couple months now, maybe like 2 months or so, and they've been really funny. I've been looking forward to actually seeing them, and usually sometimes I'll fast forward through those Knockouts matches just because a lot of them aren't very well booked, and they're generally not very creative, unfortunately.
Well, I would disagree with you there.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Sometimes I'm compelled to fast forward through them. But whenever I see those two, I actually stop and I really I want to see what happens. And the proposal this week was kind of like the icing on the cake. And did you like how they did it?
I did. I thought that was pretty funny with ODB kind of walking away and then getting down on her knees to give the ring back to Eric. I thought that was pretty fun. You know, those two are just they are the most fun people on TNA's roster right now. They're probably the two people that I enjoy watching the most. And in everything that they do, you know, I really enjoyed Eric Young's interactions with Sting this week. Sting was, I don't know, trying his best Joker impersonation and talking into the mirror. They're so much fun to watch. And, you know, I think there are a lot of people out there that might have a problem with a man holding a woman's title. But it's not unprecedented. You know, Harvey Whippleman held the WWE Women's Championship as Hervina, and you know, at least this is nowhere near as bad as that. You know, women have held men's championships in the past, so I don't have a problem with that. I'm just excited to see where they go with these two.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. So yeah, I'm really excited about it, and I think they're gonna have a lot of good title defenses after this also.
Well, hopefully they'll actually the title will be defended now, because you know, when was the last time that you can remember the Knockouts Tag Championships being defended? It's not something that happens on a regular basis, but putting them on, you know, two big strong personalities like ODB and Eric Young, maybe those belts will actually get featured from time to time.
Yeah, I think it'll be nice. The last time I remember anything particularly happening with the Knockouts tag team belts was that whole. Were you watching Impact for the whole winter brainwashing thing?
Yeah, she's real but imaginary.
Yeah, that's the last time it was featured, and that was a really out there plot that went on for a long time about her like brainwashing people. Yeah, it's still kind of there. So that didn't really do it for me, but ODB and EY, that does it for me.
Yeah, sign me up for watching them every single week on Impact, because I love them.
I think you might get your wish. I think they'll be on there a lot. Well, they've already been on there most every week so far, so I think definitely they'll be around a lot more now.
I certainly hope so.
All right, so we'll move on to our number 4 most notable thing this week, which it's not necessarily a good thing, like our number 5, but it's something I feel like it's worth talking about, which is this weird feud between Randy Orton and Kane. We kind of talked about it, I think, a little bit last week too, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
we did talk about it last week, but I think, was it in our Good, the Bad, and the Ugly last week, or was it on the show?
I don't remember. It was on one of the two, but yeah.
It doesn't matter. We talked about it.
We did discuss it.
We did discuss it.
And last week we were saying that because that was initially when Kane came out and slammed Orton. I think it was like after a match or during a match or something.
Yeah, it was to break up his match with Daniel Bryan.
Right, yeah. And then he said, like, welcome back. And that was it. There's nothing else. No
explanation.
No promos, no shoes, nothing. And then, I guess, do you want to fill people in on what happened this week with them?
Well, we saw them fight a little bit on Raw. We saw Randy Orton ambush Kane on SmackDown, and we saw them fight out into the crowd to end SmackDown with absolutely zero explanation, zero storyline, and no real reasons for us to care about this match.
Yeah, it was. It still doesn't make any sense after two more mentions of it, 2 more segments about it. Kane and Orton just, there's no explanation. They just keep beating each other up for no reason.
It just still seems very thrown together to me, and by them really only treading water and not doing anything but brawling, with no context. I mean, how are we as viewers supposed to care?
Yeah, that's the bad part about it, I think, at least for me, is that Kane Orton might be, a fun match to watch, but they just are building it up so oddly that I feel like it's really going to make people not really care that much about it when it actually happens.
Yeah, and that's the thing, like, a great story leading up to a match can help make a bad match, really good, and can help make a good match great. It can make classic matches. But this is not good build. This is very bad build with nothing to it. Just, let's throw these guys out there and have them punch each other, and maybe the crowd will believe they hate each other for some reason. I'm not buying it.
Yeah, and even if the eventual match is really good, most people probably won't care that much about it.
I think that it'll
That's
just
a
be.
shame.
I think it'll just be a match that happens at WrestleMania that gets overlooked on the undercard, and it may even go down as the sleeper classic of a match. But I don't know. I feel like you've got such a strong card at WrestleMania already. You throw as much great stuff on there as you can. Really get it to be a stacked card because we just don't get those too often in wrestling anymore.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting. Well, I guess we'll have to see where it goes. Maybe they'll offer some kind of explanation before the match, which would make some kind of sense. But at this point, since it's been going on for several episodes with zero, I don't think they've even said anything other than like a one-liner to each other. Then I don't know. We'll see.
I don't even really have anything else to say about this. Like, I feel like we're just kind of repeating ourselves. But then again, I feel like so is WWE.
Oh, getting deep on WrestleGeek this week. All right, so we'll move on to number 3, which, if you watch our Good, the Bad, and the Ugly this week, was actually one of my favorite things of the week that I felt needed to be mentioned.
I knew you would be super excited.
Yes. Anybody who watches this show might be able to guess what this is going to be.
I almost texted you after it happened, but I didn't want to spoil it for you. I knew you might be watching on DVR later. So.
Yeah. That was good because I did DVR it and I watched it after the fact. But Santino is the new WWE US champion. He's got the belt. He wept openly when he got it, which was kind of funny, but deserved. He was in 2 matches this week. I thought both were pretty good. They were fun to watch, at least. One of them being a cage match, which doesn't happen all the time on TV. So I thought I'm really happy because obviously he's a silly sort of comic type of wrestler, but I think that's fun. It's a good break in kind of the usual sort of like serious guys, getting into it. So I thought it was good. I liked it. I think he's gonna have some funny matches in the future, and he took the title from Jack Swagger, who's in kind of the Vicky camp with Dolph Ziggler. So I'm kind of hoping that they add 1 or 2 more people maybe to that group and give him a sort of wider range of people, since they've kind of built up this this rivalry between Santino and Vicky's people. So it would be kind of nice if they sort of expand upon that in the near future. I think that would bring up some pretty funny matches, I think. So, I guess going back to something you just mentioned about Dolph Ziggler specifically, do you think that WWE would be that it would behoove them to remove him from this Vicky line and put him more kind of in a serious sort of contention? Mm. Hmm. Yeah, I think that could be kind of an interesting group of people, kind of helmed by Vicky, if they sort of built it up a little bit, maybe added a couple more people to it, some lower card people or something. That's actually an excellent question. I'm trying to think of who would fit well into that group. Um, hmm. I don't know. I don't know who would be a beneficial to that. Probably somebody who doesn't get a lot of screen time, as a way to kind of push them up. Because, I mean, what I'm thinking of, everybody who used to be like in a faction, like the core or something like that, none of them would really fit into a group like that because they're not really. You kind of have to have the sort of like arrogant personality, like Jack Swagger and Dolph Ziggler, to sort of fit into that. So it'd have to be somebody kind of on the lower card who's got sort of a really arrogant personality. I can't think of anybody specifically who comes to mind who would fit that, but I'm sure that they can mold a couple people into that. Yeah, for sure. I'm sure there's a few people that would fit into that. So anyway, number two for this week is another kind of dumb thing that Sean's not so happy about. I'm not either. Do you want to field this one? Yeah, it was the match itself even it wasn't really interesting at all to me. It was very boring. The pairings were kind of just randomly thrown together. I don't it was just weird. I don't know. I didn't I mean, I give I don't I usually when I'm watching shows, I don't care about the carding beforehand. I'll watch a match and see if I like it. I mean, I don't automatically dislike a match because, somebody specific is in it. Because, sometimes a match can turn out well even if, there's somebody you don't like in it. But this match itself just was very boring. I barely remember it. And I think I don't know. It might have been acceptable like at the beginning of the show or something, but as the main event match of the episode, it was very lame. I don't think Garrett Bischoff in any way is a good wrestler. I don't think he sells stuff very well. I don't think he's just kind of like clumsy. I don't know. He hit a couple of moves that when I saw it, like it just looked bad. Like it looked sloppy. I was watching it. Like he did a release suplex on somebody, and it just looked so bad. Like I don't know. I don't know where they're going with him.
I just feel like I don't think I've ever seen an example of a company trying so hard to get two guys over. They put Gunner and Bischoff in there with people like Kurt Angle, with people like Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, and as much as I don't like him, people like Jeff Hardy, you know, and I've resigned myself to the fact that, you know, I'm going to see Jeff Hardy on TV more weeks than not. There are going to be people that love him, you know, but I can accept the fact that he's a big star. But nothing that they do makes me want to see Garrett Bischoff or Gunner on my TV screen. I don't want to see these guys wasting a spot on the roster, and especially in the main event. You know, this was such a disappointing main event to follow last week's six-man tag match.
Yeah, that's true too. Last week's main event was awesome.
And not only that, but I don't want Garrett Bischoff taking up so much of my TV time over the course of one Impact. You know, when TNA really only has 2 hours a week to put on their product, and not only do we get this Garrett Bischoff main event, but we also get repeated promos featuring him throughout the show. It's sad that on a show where Mr. Anderson returned, and I mean, a decent amount of big stuff happened. The biggest thing that I came out of Impact with was a bad taste in my mouth from this main event. You know, and that's a shame, especially after the great run that they seem to have been on for a couple weeks. I hope somebody, you know, realizes that Garrett Bischoff is not the future of the company, and that they need to stop, you know, no one's buying it. They need to stop pushing it so hard.
Yeah, that's actually, I forgot to mention that Mr. Anderson is back. That was probably the best, one of the best things that happened on Impact this week, is that, yeah, Mr. Anderson's back. I'm a big Mr. Anderson fan, so.
But the thing is, you know, in a couple weeks, you won't really remember that Mr. Anderson returned, but you'll remember how bad this match was.
Yes, I guess that's the unfortunate
part. How, like, you never wanted 20 minutes back in your life, you know, so much.
Yeah, I wish they'd given that 20 minutes to Mr. Anderson.
Why not, you know? I mean, why not set up? That would have been a much more interesting tag match. That, you know, to put Anderson and AJ in the ring against Kaz and Daniels, that's a money match right there. That's a match that I want to see. I don't want to see Garrett Bischoff playing wrestler.
Yeah, hopefully they tone that down a little bit, and hopefully.
You know, I'm sorry if there are, you know, Garrett Bischoff fans out there. I don't think there are. And I hope that TNA realizes that.
I did read that their ratings have been slipping more than usual lately, so.
Well, I hope that, you know, they attribute that to the fact that Garrett Bischoff has been a main event player, and not the fact that they've been putting on great wrestling for the past couple weeks. Like, I hope that they don't blame that on people like, you know, Bobby Roode and James Storm, people that have actually been carrying the company. But who knows with that company anymore?
Well, I guess we'll find out next week. We'll see if how much time they give him next week, I guess.
Yeah, we'll see where they head. I guess as long as he's not main eventing pay-per-view main events.
That would be bad.
The day that happens is the day that we stop covering TNA on WrestleGeek Weekly. That it just no longer happens.
Now that you mention it, I read about the card for the pay-per-view last week. I don't remember who's in the main event, but I remember that it's a non-title match.
It's Sting versus Rude, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
It's a no-holds-barred match.
Yeah. So
they're just doing that, you know, they're just doing that so that Sting wins.
Right. It might be a good match. It's just, I thought it was weird that they booked like a non-title match for the main event of their pay-per-view. I guess it's kind of weird, but
it's just one of those things that you see every now and then, because if they made it a title match when they've already got the main event for the next pay-per-view booked,
yeah, that's true.
Storm versus Rude, you know, it makes the outcome a little more obvious. So this allows things to be more up in the air, and it allows Sting to actually win the match, and for them to still have, you know, a viable championship match at the next pay-per-view.
Right. Yeah, so hopefully, I think it'll probably still be a good match, and it should set up, I think the next one's Lockdown right after that.
Yeah,
So
yeah, and that's a fun pay-per-view.
yeah, so it should set up Lockdown pretty well, I think.
And as long as Garrett Bischoff is not in the main event, and really is far down the card as he can go, really off the card would be fantastic. But Garrett Bischoff, we hate you. Let's stop talking about this waste of TV time.
Luckily, our number one thing of the week is actually a good thing.
Yes, we do have positive things to talk about on the show this week. It's not all bad.
We're being really negative this week, I feel like.
I know.
Okay.
This is a slow week.
Yeah.
We have to make our own fun.
So the number one thing is actually positive. It comes from the WWE, and it is a new development in the Undertaker WrestleMania streak match.
A new development that no one saw coming for weeks.
And that would be, in case you haven't heard or you haven't seen it, Shawn Michaels, special guest referee at the Undertaker Triple H WrestleMania match.
So are you excited for this, Bruce? I mean, what do you think? I mean, what do you think about the whole thing? Do you think it'll add to the match? Do you think it distracts? What's your opinion?
I think it'll be good. I mean, last year they had a really good, like one-on-one, straightforward sort of match. So I think that I don't see a problem with it this year, with kind of mixing it up, being Hell in a Cell, and also having a special guest referee. I think it'll be interesting to see where it goes, given that they've kind of built up this this animosity between him and Triple H over the past couple weeks, based on some of the things that Triple H said to Undertaker about 2 weeks ago, I think.
During the build for the match, yeah.
Yeah, so I think it'll bring an interesting kind of conflict into it, where they are really good friends, but they are they're kind of having a spat right now, based on sort of not smack talking, but kind of just comments that they've made about each other, that have kind of created a wedge between them at the moment. So I think they're doing a good job of infusing some kind of questionability about what's going to happen, because a lot of times with guest referees and stuff, it's very obvious
who they favor,
right, which way they're going, why they're being put in it. But I think they're doing a good job in this of kind of making it sort of a double-edged sword. So I think it's good.
Yeah, well, I think what's really neat about Michaels being interjected into the match is that there's the distinct possibility that he could end up super kicking both of these guys, over the course of the match at some point. He's got issues with Triple H. The Undertaker is the man that ended his career. There are, bunches of ways that this can turn out, and most of them are pretty interesting, I think, at least from where I sit. So I'm looking forward to the ride. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. I think they could have just stuck him in there and that was that. But they've been doing a good job with sort of justifying it and kind of giving it sort of an interesting twist. So I think it'll be a really good match this year.
Yeah, I think that he's a good addition. I definitely think that the Hell in the Cell adds another really interesting dynamic to it, and I'm hoping that since it's two longtime veterans like Triple H and Undertaker, I'm kind of hoping that maybe they take matters into their own hands and have a little bit more of a non-PG style match. Maybe we might even see a little bit of blood. Who knows?
Humans don't have blood, Sean. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, and something tells me that if we do get a little bit of blood between these two guys, that Shawn Michaels is not going to pull out the latex gloves and check on the Undertaker and call for medical trainers and things like that. So I am looking forward to this match, and hopefully this will add something to it. I don't think that I can see Shawn Michaels being added to this match taking away from it at all. I don't see it as a negative in any way. I don't think there's anything to this situation but positives.
Yeah, and I think it's good that they are switching it up a little bit, since It is more or less a rematch of last year. So they probably don't want
to... This is their third match.
Right.
And with this match, they become only the second pair of men to ever have 3 matches at WrestleMania.
I did not know that.
The other pair being Austin and Rock.
Well, there you go. So yeah, it should be really interesting. I'm glad they're switching it up, so it's not just kind of a rematch per se. It's got some different stipulations and such. So
It's got new elements of drama.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I thought that was good news for the week.
yeah, definitely.
Amongst some less good news.
Yeah, we may have been a little negative on the show this week. I apologize for that, but hopefully we should have, a lot of good stuff on these shows over the next few weeks with WrestleMania coming up, and TNA kind of pulls out all the stops for lockdown. So hopefully we'll have some more positive things in the weeks to come. This week it was a little slow. We have to make sure that we're still amusing ourselves. So.
It happens. Week by week, we take it in stride.
You know, what can you say?
Yeah. Well, thanks for tuning in, everybody, to WrestleGeek Weekly. In case you haven't noticed, we've been distracted by our amusing talk. This is our universal symbol for links. Be sure to check out all of our social media links down below. Follow us, like us, thumbs up us, subscribe to us, all those other verbs. Any verb you want to do to us, mostly, is probably okay with us.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm comfortable with you speaking for me on that one.
Sean will allow you to perform any verb, on the show at least, that you want to. As long as it's positive.
I think YouTube has a problem with that one.
Yes, that might be true. But yes, at least check us out on these. Follow us if you want.
Check us out on WNW's Wrestling News World's YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Definitely check out WrestlingNewsWorld.com for all the best and most accurate news about professional wrestling. And if you're interested about indie professional wrestling and specifically Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, check out my blog over at pwgproject.blogspot.com. It's an ongoing review of every Pro Wrestling Guerrilla show ever put to DVD, and I'm getting ready to put up my 5th blog entry, so 5 down and only 123 more to go.
You sound very optimistic for those numbers there.
Oh, absolutely. That means that I've got a lot of great wrestling in the future.
Awesome. Yeah, be sure to check that out. Check out our mini episode this week, like we mentioned, on WrestlingNewsWorld.com. Be sure to check us out next Sunday for the next exciting installment of WrestleGeek Weekly.
We'll be looking at what TNA, what is Victory Road? Is that the pay-per-view?
Yes.
Their pay-per-view names are so forgettable. It's hard to keep track of, but I did know that it was a TNA pay-per-view.
Yes. Yeah, it'll be Victory Road next Sunday, so we'll probably be focusing on TNA next week. So be sure to check out Impact so you can follow along next Sunday with us. But yeah. So I'm Bruce, a.k.a. Geektacular.
I'm Sean.
And we'll see you
next
time.
I don't have a K.
Just Sean. Sean
Just
Pops. And we will see you next week.
Do the snapmare.